Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to look at a tank that is never played. Yes, a very, very good tank that is hardly ever played. Now, this is episode 2. So episode 2 of this series that we've started to get into. And to be fair, we're doing a couple of series. A tank that's never played and Blast from the Past, you know, where we look at old tanks that were once really, really good, but now are really sort of nothing. But in this series, we are looking at tanks that are just never played, and we're going to talk about why they are never played and if they should be played. So in today's video, we are going to go to tier 8. We are going to go to Chinese. Yes, it is a premium tank. We're then going to go to tank destroyers, and actually one of the best tanks in tier 8. It is the Chinese WZ-121 GFT. Fantastic tank. When played correctly, this honestly is a really, really good tank. Now, it's been around for a very, very long time. Honestly, it's been around for a while. Now, when this tank was first come into the game, it come for money. So the first few times it was sold, it was for money. I believe this tank has never ever come for direct gold. It used to be considered overpowered, and it did. It used to be a really overpowered tank. The armor profile, the gun, the speed, it really was a fantastic tank. Now, on paper, the armor profile isn't great at 120 millimeters. And when someone is looking at it with APCR or heat, then yeah, it does become sort of like butter. But if someone's looking at you, especially a lower tier tank or even sometimes a tier 8 tank, looking at you with the standard round and you're wiggling, it does make it very, very difficult to be able to penetrate this tank. So yeah, the armor profile can work, but you've got to make it work. And of course, if the enemy decide to switch to APCR or heat, then you're not going to bounce too much. DPM for what it is really, really good as well. 2,908. That is just an 8.25 second reload. So very, very decent DPM. And a very good reload time there. Penetration is 248 on your AP, 310 on your heat. Again, you can run it with calibrated shells if you wish, just to up that penetration. But yeah, I don't, to be honest, because I like the DPM on this tank. Your HE is 61. Average damage, you do a 400 alpha on your AP, 340 on your heat, and 500 on your HE. Aim time 3.4, not too bad. It could be better. The same as the gun dispersion, not too bad at 0.326. It could be better, but then it could be worse. You have just 6 degrees of gun depression, so you've got to remember that it doesn't really have that gun depression. So yeah, if you get on a ridge, then it really isn't going to work on this tank. You have a top speed of 50 kilometers per hour. So yeah, the speed's really nice, DPM's really nice, and yeah, overall it really is just a fantastic tank that is just never played. And again, why don't people play this tank? It's just because it's, you know, not because it isn't good. It is a fantastic tank, but just for the fact that it pretty much has never been for sale for gold is the main reason why not a lot of people play the tank. It used to come for money, as I've said. The first time round it was money, and it wasn't cheap. I mean, it was 40 odd pound, like 50 odd dollars, and I really, really wanted it. I really, really wanted this tank, so I thought, you know what, I don't really want to pay that, so I'm just going to wait for the next time round, because the next time round it will come for gold, because that is what it used to be back then. But no, the next time round, again, it was for money. So I'm like, okay, maybe the next time round. The next time around after that, again, it was for money. And this is, at this point, very, very unusual, because there's not many tanks that come for money, direct money, especially a tier 8 tank, and especially 3 or 4 times in a row. But Wargaming knew it. Wargaming knew that this tank was super, super strong. So, of course, they don't want to sell it for gold, just like the Smasher. You know, that's never come for direct gold, because they know if it is, because it's so strong, if they sell it for gold, then then it will just literally break the tiers. So this is the same situation with this tank. It's never been for sale for gold, just for money, and of course for crates. Yes, crates. You can often get this in crates, if I'm honest, like the special crates. There's a load of different crates that allows you to be able to get the tank. But yeah, never for gold. Never ever for gold. So that's the reason why not a lot of people buy the tank, because there's people out there that don't want to pay real money because they've got gold on their account for one way or another, or they don't want to buy crates. So of course they miss out on this kind of tank, and it is a shame. Nowadays, yes, I mean, it hasn't changed. It hasn't been nerfed or anything like that, but it's definitely not as strong as it used to be, because people now really sort of know how to deal with this tank. And yeah, once you know how to deal with it, it does become a lot easier. So yeah, people, you know, I don't know, they know how to deal with it. Back then, people didn't know how to deal with it. And that is the same with a lot of new tanks, to be honest. Like, when new tanks first come out, they are really, really strong. But over time, people learn how to play them, and they do become very, very easier to be able to deal with. Now, as I've said, this tank was the Borzik. So the Borzik in tier 8, it hated coming up against this tank, because you could just, you know, you could bounce pretty much every single time. And the thing with other tanks with things like heat, if you are wiggling, then you might even just sort of hit the tracks, or you might be able to absorb it. But yeah, it was an annoying tank to come up against. It really, really was. So we're going to have a game here. I mean, we're going to absolutely farm a bit of damage here. We're hiding. I don't want to come out because we do have the standard B. So I'm happy waiting here, because while I'm waiting here, I am dealing with the M3 Yo. You could say that I'm farming an AFK. Yes, I am. But at the end of the day, it's very, very early on, and he could come alive at any moment in time. And I use that excuse, to be fair, all the time. When I farm an AFK, it's always, yeah, I'm getting him out of the game because he could come alive. So with the DPM of this, you know, I mean, it's not too long before I take him out, to be honest. And I know if I would have ignored that guy and gone for the standard B, the standard B is a better tank overall. It is a tier 9 tank, and he could have potentially just been able to delete me. And the worst thing to happen is to get deleted knowing that there is an AFK on the team, where you could have actually farmed up quite a bit of damage. So yes, I farmed an AFK, but I'm not sorry. Yes, I'm definitely not sorry about farming that AFK. So before you know it, 2.6k damage, but to be honest, we're not looking at damage. We did farm an AFK after all. But you can see in both games that I've had that I'm not bouncing much. I'm not bouncing much at all. Didn't really bounce anything the first game, and I haven't bounced anything at all this second battle. It is kind of like a tier 8 YOLO wagon, where you can sort of YOLO straight into the enemy. If you are face hugging them, that is where this armor becomes a lot more annoying as well. As long as you're moving about, if you just sit there still without moving, then of course it does become a lot easier to be able to penetrate this tank. But make it hard for him. You have to make it hard for the enemy team. If you're just going to sit there, then you're going to get penned, and you probably deserve to be penned. But so far, I'm still a one-shot, but at the end of the day, I am still alive. So it is now a 5 versus 1, and just this object 704 to go. So when it's 5 versus 1, I'm just going to come around. The waffle is there. He is now dead, but I do get the shot off, and that is pretty much going to be my final shot. I think I might even get the kill here. I do, just 67. But overall, it is a very, very nice tank. I wish Wargaming would actually, at this point, sell it for gold, because I think they will sell it. You know, people are not as scared of this tank as they was when it first come into the game, when people did consider it overpowered. But again, nothing's been changed, but people learn, and they now know how to deal with it. So now it's not considered overpowered. I do think it's time that they resell this tank for a bit of gold. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed the video. Do you own this tank? How did you get it? Did you pay money, or was it in a crate? Let me know in the comments below. But for now, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I'm Meadsy, and I will catch you all soon. Bye-bye.
with